Welcome everybody. We're about to start our webinar. We're going to be talking about the 4 pillars of digital marketing for the promotional product distributor business. And my goal with this webinar is that you gain clarity on how all of this online marketing works to help you get leads and sales from the internet. My name is Gloria Lafont and I am the president of Action Marketing. And there's all my contact information. You can find me on social media. I would love to connect with you. And if you have any questions or you'd like me to cover any topics, reach out. Now, to tell you a little bit about my story and what got me here, I'm pretty sure I'm very much like you. I'm basically a family person. And there I am with my children, my grandchildren, my mother, 4 generations of us. And there on the right, I'm with two of my grandkids in the Arizona desert one time that I went to visit because I am here in Florida, so I don't get to see them as often as I would want. And about 10 years ago, I founded Action Marketing. And at that time, I wanted to position my business as a distributor. And I started to market my business really as proactively as I could. I did the networking events, I held events at my place, and I also tried all kinds of things online. At that point, the internet marketing was all very new. Nobody really knew how to do it or what would work, and it was all a lot of experiments. But eventually, that's where I got my big clients from. They found me on the internet. All of my top worthwhile clients found me on the internet. But I continued working with small businesses because all of this networking, I met a lot of small and medium-sized businesses that needed help with their marketing. And that's kind of where what I had been doing up to that point. So I always really enjoyed working with small business owners and helping them get more clients. Eventually, I started phasing out of the distributor end of the business and focusing more on the small businesses. And now I'm helping distributors as well. I've been in the marketing space for more than 30 years, before the internet. And I learned marketing working at a place that it was part of the supply chain in producing junk mail. We called it direct mail, okay? And what we did is we processed lists from different sources, merged them into one, and produced labels and affixed them onto the mailing pieces and dropped them at the post office. And I am talking about thousands and thousands of pieces a week. So as you can imagine, these mailings were very, very costly for the advertisers. So targeting was critical and still is. They were all about tracking. They were all about measuring results. So they tested the lists, they tested the copy, everything. Every portion of the mailing was tracked and measured and compared. And this is what direct response marketing is. And that's how I learned marketing, with the direct response approach. And if you're wondering what that is on the screen, that's an interview that a local magazine published about our business back in 1992, okay? So it's been a while. Anyway, direct response is my approach. And I love direct response because it's very focused. It's based on matching the message, the medium, and the audience. You get these 3 things right, and you have won the battle. Today's marketing conversation has gotten very, very focused on the different platforms. So people will talk about, I'm going to do a content strategy, I'm going to do a Facebook strategy, and I should be doing videos because I heard videos they're big right now. Or I should, maybe I should do Instagram because I heard that Instagram is growing. And yes, all of these things, might be true, but none of these are standalones. Because these are vehicles, these are marketing vehicles, so you cannot be putting your focus on the vehicles. You have to start with a strategy, and the strategy comes from how you are going to communicate your value to your audience. So if you're missing those two key ingredients, the vehicles alone are not going to do much for you. The vehicle is the last thing you have to figure out. You have to be very clear on who your ideal clients are and what you are going to tell them, how you're going to communicate that you are the right choice, and how you're going to show your expertise and your value. That is critical. And then come the vehicles and how you are going to be delivering that message. Now let's take a quick look at why is internet marketing important. So let me just show you some numbers. In the business-to-business space, buyers are up to 90% through their journey before contacting a vendor. And that makes sense because people are researching online. People are finding out information. They're doing their due diligence. So when they contact a vendor, they pretty much have already made up their mind that that's the person they're going to work with. So that's why, in my opinion, this is really low-hanging fruit. People searching on the internet are low-hanging fruit because all you have to do is close the sale. They're ready to buy. And I can attest to that. You really have to make very little effort to convince somebody that called you online to buy from you and to close that deal. Now, of course, the challenge is to get found. And that's what we're going to be covering. That's what I'm going to show you right now. Because there are many moving parts to digital marketing. And there is a very important technical aspect that I am not going to be talking about today. Because I want to concentrate on the essentials that you have to have in place, and they're going to make a big difference. Not that the technical is not important, because it is important, but you still have to have these in the right place and done right for the whole thing to work. This is how you build an online presence of dominance. So the first pillar starts with your website. Your website is very important in today's marketplace because your website is your place of business. Your website is open 24/7 and its job is to sell. And even though you may not be paying attention to your website, people are going to your website and they're forming an opinion when they get to your website as to what kind of business you are. That's why it's very, very important. Even if you meet somebody on a networking event or you connect in LinkedIn and you have managed to really create interest in working with you, that person, the first thing they're going to do is go and check your website out. You do the same thing. So that's why it's very important. They're going to form an opinion. They're going to judge you by your website. The purpose of your marketing is to drive traffic to your website. In the end, that's what you're trying to do. Your website is so important that 30% of business-to-business buyers have ruled out a provider because of unimpressive website. So they're not impressed with your website and they just go and look for another one, okay? So your website has to be built for conversions. When people come to your website, not only you want to show them that you are the right choice, but you also want to make it easy for them to contact you and so that you can close the deal. By the way, we have a checklist on the resource section of our website that is a checklist that includes all of the important parts of that a promotional product business website should have. So you can download it and you can give it to your web designer and go over these things with them. Or if you're going to do it yourself, either way, this is going to be very helpful so that you can really improve your website and get a lot more conversions from it. Now, we move on to number two. Number two is content. And I bet you knew I was going to talk about content because content is king. And I know it has become some kind of a cliche, but it is 100% true. I guarantee that. Because this is the information age. If people are looking for information and they're doing research, you want them to find what they're looking for on your website, not on your competitor's website. Does that make sense? Now I want to show you some more numbers. 24% of business-to-business buyers have ruled out a provider because of poor quality content. Think about that. Now, content. What makes content relevant? We want to know that. Your content has to answer questions that your ideal client has regarding your products or your product's implementation. It has to connect those dots. I'll say it again. You have to provide the information that your ideal clients are looking for regarding your products and services. That's how you make content relevant. So how do you actually do that? The way to do that is based on your best keywords. Keywords are what people type on the browsers or in the browsers, I don't know how to speak English, when they're researching for information. So whatever they type in the browser, that's a keyword. So you want to know what people are typing in the browser. The best place to find that information is going to be Google. So I suggest that you make a list of keywords. You want to make a list, not very extensive, but say for example you start with 10 keywords. And you're going to be doing some research. And I have to warn you, this is not something that's going to take you 5 minutes, okay? So sorry. But it is totally worth it because you're going to base your whole marketing on this information. Okay, so you make a list of 10 keywords and then you type right in the browser, you type one. In this case, I typed custom logo shopping bags. When you do that, a window opens and it gives you different options. These are options that Google finds that people have searched. So it thinks that you might be looking for that. So that's why it shows you that. That's why this is good information. This is things that people are typing on the browser. Now, sometimes if you're researching and you have clicked on a link that has to do with that, it's going to show you the link that you clicked on. So you want to be aware of that so that you don't include that as a reliable result. So based on this, you want to pick the ones that you think are better. Like for example, in this case, I wouldn't choose cheap custom logo shopping bags. You want to rule those out. Okay, so once you have come up with a narrowed down a list of keywords that you're going to be working on, you want to do a little bit further research. For that, you are going to go to Google AdWords Keyword Planner. This is a free tool that you get when you create an account to have your tracking on your website with Google, which I hope you have. I hope you have Google Analytics installed on your website. That would be very important, okay? But anyway, so this is a tool that is free and it gives you good information. Like for example, here we typed logo reusable bags. So it's going to give you a list of keywords related to that. And then it's going to give you on the right hand side, gives you the average monthly searches that this keyword gets. And then if the competition is high and the suggested bid. That information, if the competition is high, means that a lot of people are placing ads on those keywords. And then on the right, the cost is how much you would pay per click. Okay, so all of that information is relative. In this case, you're not going to be placing ads at this point. We're not talking about that. But this gives you a list of keywords and a value to them. For example, if you go down the line, like the last one on the list says personalized bags, and it has 16 searches per month. A lot of people are interested in personalized bags, right? So if you opened each of these links, it would give you even more information. So that's how you would come up with a list of solid keywords that you can develop topics around. Because once you have found your keywords that you're going to work on, you are going to develop topics around those keywords. So ideally, you want to start with, say, 3 keywords. And then each keyword you want to develop into different blog posts or articles that talking about different aspects of the same topic, because then you have a lot more information on your website about that one topic. If you start writing about different things every time, then you end up with very diluted keywords. This, of course, has a little more to it to come up with a strategy, but I hope I'm making sense as to how you choose what to write about. So once you have your content, you are going to now deliver the content. So you're going to write blog posts and newsletters. You can do videos, you can do infographics, case studies, slide shares, graphic images. That's what you do with the content after you have decided what to write about. The next step, very, very important, is content promotion. And this is where social media comes in. I bet you knew I was going to also talk about social media. This is one of the reasons to use social media. You will promote your content by sharing your blog posts and all the forms of content that you're creating here on social media. What you are going to do, the point is, once you have, for example, you have a good solid article about XYZ, so then you break it down into little snippets. And each snippet, you publish each snippet over time with a different image every time and with a link to your website. Because remember how we said that the purpose is to drive traffic to your website? So this is how you do it. So that one blog post, that one article, or that one web page that is very, very relevant to your business, gets converted into multiple pieces of content that you can share over time. And many times these things don't have an expiration date and you can continuously use it. You generate content to share that it's valuable. Now, when you subscribe to a service that posts on your behalf, it doesn't really do much for you because, first of all, whatever is being posted doesn't reflect your business most of the times. And then if there is a link, it's going to be linked to their own property. So you just don't have any control over those links and you can't really do much with them. So that's why that just does not work and it's mostly a waste of money. So by doing this in this way, you start to build the know, like, and trust factors. People start to see you around. So when they need a provider, there you are. So it works not only to get new clients, but also for the retention, because your own clients see you online, see you on social media, and you remind them that you exist. Now, to show you how all of this works together, your website is at the center because it's like the hub of your marketing. Then the content pushes your SEO. It has to be, of course, optimized, and you want to have other technical parts also included to push it even more. But basically, you build your SEO around your website. Then you promote your content online through social media, and also you can also use paid ads. Like if you find that one particular topic is really, really getting a lot of interest, you can do a paid ad to promote that content and get even a bigger reach. So in essence, you get discovered through social media and by people finding your content, and you get found on the search engines with SEO, and then your website finishes the job and converts into clients. Okay, so we reached the fourth pillar, track and measure. This is very, very important. That's why it's a pillar. Because after all that work, because I'm sure that all that I just described is going to take a lot of work. So you want to know what's working. You want to tweak things to make it work more. So that without tracking and measuring, there is no way of doing it. So this is very important. And I want to show you what you would be looking for to track. Every month you will do a report. And even if you're doing it in-house, or if you have hired the company to do it for you, every month you're going to see how everything is working. And what you're going to be looking at is one thing, for example, is how many calls you got. Not only calls, but also people who reached out, forms, emails, whatever it might be. How many those would be new inquiries from new prospective clients. How many new sales? How are you ranking for your top keywords? Are you really ranking the way you want for those top keywords? The number of visits to your site. How much time are people spending on your site? How many pages are they visiting? What is their bounce rate? The bounce rate means somebody came in and left immediately without exploring your website. That means that they're either not the right people, or that your website needs some fixes. But in any case, you need to pay attention to that. So you will be looking to decrease the bounce rate. The other thing to see here and to pay attention to is your traffic. If you have 1,000 visitors to your website and you have 3 calls per month, obviously something is really wrong, okay? You need to address it. Or if you have 200 visits per month and you're having 10 calls a week, that's pretty good. You want to increase traffic because you're doing something right. Now you just need to push your traffic. So I hope that makes sense. So you find this information on your Google Analytics page that gives you a ton of information about the activity on your website. And again, you want to start with these items, and then in time you can look at other things, because there's many different things that you could see. Like, for example, where are your visitors coming from, and their demographic characteristics, and also how many people are looking or searching through your mobile website, mobile visitors, things like that. But again, these are the ones that you want to look at first. Another place to also look is your social media analytics. And this is an example of what you will be looking for. This is a Facebook page of one of our clients a couple of years ago. At that point, they had less than 200 likes. They had 189. You can see the arrow at the top of the left. And then this one particular post, the list at the bottom lists the posts and the engagement. That particular post got more than 800 views, and it had 672 clicks and 135 likes or comments or shares. So why is this important? Because having less than 200 likes, it got all that reach. So that's excellent engagement. And then what that would tell you is that that particular topic is of interest to your target audience. So that's how you would use that information. But you want to know, if people are actually looking at your things, right? So this is what you will be looking at. So to sum it up, the 4 pillars of online marketing are your website, your content, content promotion, and track and measure. I just want to point out your keys to success are a well-defined target audience, relevant informative content, and what you're going for is a premium position, high visibility, and good reputation. That's what you're looking to achieve. So I hope this was helpful, and now you have a better idea of how all of this works to really get more leads and more sales from the internet. And I hope that you are not too busy to make improvements to your online marketing, because as you know, times have changed, and if you're looking to grow your business, you have to change the way that you're doing things, or that you have been doing them, if they are not working for you especially. And this is what we do with Action. We've been doing this for over 10 years, and a lot has changed over those 10 years, and we have the experience and we have the know-how. I have a really solid team that it's very knowledgeable. We work always from a strategic perspective, because it is important that you get results and not just waste time and do random things, you know. So we cover all of the aspects of online marketing. We always start with a strategy. We have a content writing plan that we offer, where we provide blog posts to clients so they can post themselves. We can also post them for them. But this is the very basic, because you have to have content, and this is one way that whatever you're investing money on is going to build upon itself, and it's not going to go to waste. So this is our most basic level. And from there, of course, we do from the brand development, help you with that, the web design if necessary, because there are many other solutions that you may be using. But we make sure that your site is optimized, that the social media campaigns are done properly. We also do online advertising, and of course we take care of the whole thing if for those clients that want us to handle everything as an outsourced marketing department, basically. So we can take care of everything pretty much. We always start with a strategy. It's very important that whatever is going to be done, it's on purpose. So from the brand development and the web design, content, social media, and also paid advertising. And our most basic plan is content writing. We have a content writing service where we provide with blog posts every month that our client can post on their website by themselves. So that would be like the most basic level that is going to help get traction, because at this, if you start posting content on your blog, you are going to start getting that compounding effect. You're not going to be wasting money on your marketing, because sometimes when you hire a service to do social media, or you hire a service to do this, you're really wasting money, because none of that has a long-term effect. So content has a long-term effect, and that's why we have that as our most basic plan. So if you're interested, we have a free online presence assessment. And what this is that this shows you how Google sees your domain and your website. And this is interesting because sometimes you see some items there that are very easy to correct. And there are, opportunities, because once you correct them, it really helps your website rank better. Now, if you have any questions, I received some questions. One question was, how do I deter price shoppers? Apparently you are afraid that if you start, getting more leads, they're all going to be price shoppers. The way you do that is because on your message, that formula of message and audience, you're not talking to price shoppers. You are talking to your ideal clients. So that's how you deter them. And in fact, we got such few price shoppers. We got some people that found us and asked us to do a bid, and we just respectfully rejected it if we thought that we didn't really want to participate. But the way you deter them is by not talking to them. I know it sounds basic, but that's the way it is. Not everybody's looking for best price ever when they're looking online. Then another question was how to target your local market. To do that, you optimize your content and your website for the local market. When you are searching on Google, Google is going to favor those things that are close to you. So if I'm here in Fort Lauderdale and I'm looking for a plumber, they're not going to show me results all over the United States. So very much like that, if you optimize for local, you are going to show up. Another question, if you work for a company as an independent rep and they have their own website and you don't want to have your own full-fledged website, what do you do in that case? So in that case, it doesn't make sense for you to go and invest on a whole website. What you can do is to have a really, really well-optimized LinkedIn profile, and then have a blog with your about page using the same profile description as you have on your LinkedIn, and have content that gets found and that helps you promote your business. As a rep, you're going to say that I'm a rep for such and such. I have a blog where I write about promotional product marketing. So that's how you would do that. Another question, if I want to have a niche market, I'm not going to mention the specialty because he asked me not to, but if you want to specialize, you want to have a niche that you're going to promote and you want to promote it nationally, how do you do that? There are ways of optimizing your website and your blog posts and everything to reach a national audience. So those things are done as part of the strategy, and yes, there are ways of doing that. So with that, I want to thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And again, if you want to reach out on social media, you can find me. I'm everywhere. And send me your questions if you have any more questions. I am here to help, and go be successful.